In today's episode, we're talking about the 5 golden rules to develop and build your net worth. Let's find out. Welcome back to another episode of Money Mindset with Gull Khan, where we empower you to take charge of your finances and develop and build your wealth and your abundance. And today we're talking about the 5 golden rules to develop and build your net worth. I'm going to show you how to grow your net worth. We're not going to just talk about your income. And if you've been following me for some time, you know there's a difference between growing your income and growing your net worth. We do want to grow your income, but that growth in that income has to translate into growth of your net worth. And you hear me talking all the time that just because your income has grown does not necessarily mean the net worth has grown over time as well. And today I'm going to talk specifically around that. So I'm going to give you 5 golden rules to actually help you achieve financial stability and independence. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started with this. Let's go deep dive in. The very first rule of developing your net worth is to live below your means. Why is this so important? Because I'm going to give you an example. The one that comes to mind, and I think most people know about, is Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson made hundreds of millions over his course of his career, hundreds of millions. And we all know, and if you don't, I'm telling you this now, a few years ago, he filed for bankruptcy. Now, how does someone who has made hundreds of millions of dollars end up going broke? Why? For this very reason. Just because your income's gone up does not mean your net worth has gone up. So living below your means is a way to ensure that whatever money comes in, a certain amount of that money stays and it starts working for you. Not necessarily in savings. I'm not a big believer of savings, but actually is investments and is translated into is translated. Let me repeat it again. Certain amount of money that comes to you stays with you and translates into your assets, which then continue to bring you more money and to build your net worth. Okay. So it sounds very simple, it's incredibly powerful, yet it's very difficult for a lot of people to implement in their life. When you spend less than what you earn, you create a surplus and that can be saved and eventually invested. Now, this is something that Robert Kiyosaki teaches, and I talked about his book last week. He teaches in his book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, that you need to develop assets. But before you can have assets, you need to have money, you need to have savings. And that saving can only be present if you are living below your means, right? So whatever money you generate through income and businesses, whatever have you, you need to be living below your means. Therefore, having this surplus income can be used in a way to eventually go into investments. I'm not going to talk about investments today, so I'm just talking about what you should be doing. So action steps for this particular point is: number one, create a budget and track expenses. Make sure you're tracking all your expenses, where the money is going out, how is it going out, what's happening with it, and so forth. You need to identify ways that you can get rid of unnecessary spending. Things are going out for no reason. You can cut down that. And I'm not asking you to be really frugal and to become really, really, penny pinch or anything like that. But I'm asking you to be conscious of where the money is going. Are you eating out 5 times a week? Are you spending money on Starbucks and other things, 4 times a week? Are you buying shoes unnecessarily 10 times, a year or something like that? So it's just keeping an eye on where your money is going out and what you can actually sacrifice. I'm not asking you to become really tight with money and not to enjoy money. Absolutely not. The formula I give you in Cash Flow Mastery, I actually encourage you to spend money for fun, and that could include shopping if that's what's important for you. But you need to have a way to save that money. And if you follow my five steps to Cash Flow Mastery, you'll know how to save money. Okay, but this is a different episode. We're talking about the 5 golden rules, and I'm talking about here, but you need to create an action plan. Okay, so step number three, action step number three, is you need to prioritize where you're going to be spending money, where you're going to be investing, or what you're going to be doing. So you need to have goals. You need to set goals. Okay, I make $10,000 a month, or I make $5,000 a month, and I need to save at least 10% of that. If you have followed my 5 steps to cash flow mastery, I talk about that all the time. And if you want it, it's actually part of the 5-day workshop that we've got running at the moment. And if you go to the link, www.moneymindsetmakeoverworkshop.com, you can buy access to that as well. It's for I think few dollars. It's less than $100. It's not expensive. It's purposely done at a very low level that anybody can have access to that workshop. So go ahead and check that out. And that's where I talk about my 5 steps to cash flow master system really, really, really well. Actually, 3 steps to cash flow master system. So there's 3 steps to cash flow master system. And I'll talk about the 5 bank accounts and what to do and whatnot. Okay. So go and have a check of that. Okay. Now the point is, by consistently living below your means, you end up in a place where you're able to accumulate funds, and these can then be put to work for you as investments, and they can help you to grow your net worth. Okay. And the power of compounding comes into this as well. All right. Number 2, invest wisely and diversify. Now, I can't stress enough on this. I've learned the hard way. You know, you have to do a slow and steady. Do not go after the quick rich, quick bucks and whatever schemes that are out there. There are plenty of those around there. I'm not saying there's something wrong with crypto, but again, play the long game with crypto. Do not be trying to invest in one particular altcoin which you think is going to go up and make you 2,000 returns or something ridiculous. Do your due diligence and do have a long-term sight in sight. You don't be thinking I'm going to make money in 100 million bucks in the next 2 years or something like that. Don't go down that path. Compounding can be a wonderful, wonderful thing, but you have to use compounding in the right way, which requires time. So that's very, very important. So in my view, you cannot build net worth without investing. You have to. The money that comes to you has to be invested some way. If you leave in the bank and that's it, inflation will eat it up and it will disintegrate into nothing. So in order for you to really benefit from the money that you're saving from step number 1, you need to be actually investing in something. And that could be, it could be a property, it could be stocks, it could be fine art, it could even be, luxury handbags now because they've become a collector's item, or some other form of investment. There has to be some sort of asset that is able to either bring you passive income or create long-term wealth in terms of, the value of that's going to go up, like fine art, or even actually, some really expensive jewelry and some watch pieces as well. So action steps for this would be educate yourself with the different types of investments out there, like stocks, bonds, and real estate. And I just mentioned fine art and handbags and so forth. Consider low cost funds or ETFs as diversification. I really, really, really encourage you to consider ETFs. Yes, stocks are great, but you can never bet on one company. I grew up with Woolworths and gosh, Debenhams and oh my goodness, so many other brands which we thought were absolutely rock solid, and there's nothing that could happen to it. But Woolworths is gone, Debenhams is gone, and there's a couple. There's so many others that's just disappeared. So the companies that are present at the moment may not exist in 30 years' time, and that includes Apple, by the way. So Apple is one of the strongest companies around. But is there a guarantee there's going to be around in 30 years' time? Not really. And therefore, that's where ETFs are a great asset to have. And you should definitely consider them. Okay, but I'm not going to give more information about it. Go and do your due diligence, please, and research yourself. Consider also regularly reviewing your portfolio, adjust it accordingly. And if you are into real estate property, then it may be worth, again, it's another tip, but just see how much equity you built up, and if you can take some out and to buy more property, if that's the path that you've gone down, that's perfectly fine. But you need to be aware of what's invested where and how much it's bringing you. And if there's a asset that's not growing as well as it should, keep a long-term view, but also keep an eye on it. See if it's not performing. If an ETF is not performing, then change it. Okay, so just that only can happen if you review. So that's the final step for that. So why is diversification important? Well, diversification spreads the risk across a number of different assets. And so in a downturn, if one area is devastated, which maybe wipes out part of your portfolio, the rest of the portfolio is fine. And this is where you need to not, it's the old saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Okay. This balanced approach may not give you as much profit if one of those assets skyrockets, but at the same time, on the reverse, it will not deplete or wipe out your portfolio if one of those assets that you have invested in completely, gets wiped out. Okay. So that's it. Number three, which is one of my favorite ones, avoid bad debt. So I talk about the credit cards quite a lot. Credit cards are a bad debt, but only a bad debt when used for the wrong purposes. You can use credit cards for investments. You can use credit cards as a way to educate yourself and so forth. Credit cards are bad when you're buying handbags and shoes from it, when you're not doing anything with it, or when you're using it to live your life and because you're living beyond your means and your income isn't able to support your living standards and therefore you have to supplement it with a credit card. That's when it's wrong. So avoid bad debt. What you need to be doing is if you are using a credit card and you use it to build your credit file, then what you do is you buy something on credit card and the end of the month pay it entirely off. So you pay it off completely. And then you keep repeating that with the different, whatever credit cards you're using or whatever things you're using. Use them as vehicles to build your credit, not to actually live off. That's the point, right? So you should be paying off your high interest credit cards all the time, or as quick as possible. And after credit cards would be personal loans. Get rid of them as soon as possible. And then use your debt for appreciating assets. And this could be real estate, education, as I mentioned before, but make sure that there's benefit to be had if you are using credit cards and you're not able to pay it off. If you're using the credit cards to live on something, then, for example, I'll give you my example. I use one of my credit cards to go to Asda or Morrison's or wherever I'm going. If I'm buying something for the month, during the month, I'll spend all on the credit card. At the end of the month, when the statement comes, I'll pay it off. So I've got the money already. I know I've got the money waiting in the other bank, but I'll pay it off at the end of the month. This allows me to build my credit with my credit card. That's how I use it. Okay. Number four. Number four is build multiple streams of income. I can't stress this enough as well, but you don't start your wealth generating or wealth building journey with the idea that I'm going to have, four income streams from the get-go. That doesn't really work. It can every now and again, but generally doesn't. You need to focus on one income stream, make it solid, and then gradually add on additional income streams. That's my recommendation to you. Now, relying on a single income stream, because I've done this before, relying on a single income source, or even if you have, for example, if you have a business and it has multiple streams of income, but if you have one source where all your leads are generating from, like for example, in my case used to be Facebook ads, then you're putting your eggs in one basket and it's just really, really risky. So don't rely on a single income stream or lead generations and pathway in my case. And what you want to be doing is building those multiple streams of income over time and making sure that you may not be starting with multiple streams of income, but you should be within 5 to 10 years have at least 7 streams of income and be consciously thinking about it and creating ways and opportunities to have that. That's very important. Okay. And this would give you additional funds for investments to build your net worth, but it also allows you the peace of mind that if one of your income streams dries out, you've got plenty of others to fall back on. Right? So the action steps for this would be consider starting side business, side hustle, or freelance work. Look into investments, look into investments that generate passive income, not just capital growth, but actually passive income. And this could be like rental properties or dividends. And with properties, you can even there's so many different strategies that you can use. You don't even have to buy properties anymore. There's other things you can do. Explore the opportunities in intellectual property, right? IP, such as writing a book, creating an online course. And that's something that I've done. I have multiple companies. And what I initially created was a coaching business, and I have a book in that, which gives me income until this day. I have online courses, and of course, I've got podcasts and other income streams coming from there too. So it's just you can build and build and build, and there's no sky's the limit. There's no end in sight. There may not be £100 million companies, but it's just additional income streams, and they can add on and on and on, and eventually make you a very healthy, substantial sum of income on the side compared to your main income source, right? And finally, and most important one, and this I truly, truly, truly believe that all leaders do, which is continually educate yourself. Your education doesn't start when you leave university or leave school. If anything, it starts well before then and it continues thereafter. And anybody who stops educating themselves as soon as they leave university has absolutely failed themselves. Because education is something that's going to continue to develop your character, your mind, your understanding of concepts, and things also are very fast-paced, things move along. So doctors have to constantly learn about new techniques, new things coming out. Lawyers have to understand about new laws coming out and adjustments and things like that. It happens in all areas, absolutely all areas. Technology, you have to keep on top of things. But I'm more, because I have multiple businesses, I'm more interested in business and in personal development and mindset. And there's always new research being done. There's always another book to read. There's always something more to learn. There's a skill to develop. I believe I'm a great public speaker. However, I think there's room for improvement and I can be even better. I can develop my skills even further. And I'm looking into that. So there's always way to improve the skills, even the skills that you are very good at or are very confident in. You can always improve those because that's the name of the game. You should be improving your skills all the time. And if you become really complacent, like I know all this and I know everything there's to know, that's when you know there's something wrong or there's a downfall. I've not met a single person of significance, someone I admire or someone I look up to who doesn't read or educate themselves. And I mean, I'm dyslexic, so when I read a book, it takes me a long time, even now. I do different techniques and speed reading or whatever have you, but the books that really matter, like Think and Grow Rich, I want to read them slowly. I want to read them in the way that I understand. And the best form of me reading a book is through an audiobook, which I think a lot of people do. Not only do I find it useful because I'm driving and I can use that time to listen to an audiobook of something that I really enjoy, but it also allows me to understand the words from different perspectives. Because remember, I'm dyslexic, so I don't read and listen in the same way that the average person does. I learn and hear differently. So the point being, there's always a way for you to continuously learn either through audiobooks, now podcasts, and there's blogs and so forth, right? So knowledge is one of the most valuable assets that you have. No one can take that away from you. They can take your money, your clothes, your assets, everything else, but they can't take away your mind and they cannot take away your knowledge. Staying informed about financial markets, investment strategies, and economic trends and so forth helps you to understand your market better. It helps you to make decisions better. It helps you to lead your team better. So you're not just educating yourself to improve you and develop your character. Yes, it helps you to do that. But especially if you're in a place of leadership, you're a head of a company, you're a CEO of a company, you have a team that rely upon you, it becomes incumbent on you to continuously develop your skills to make sure that you're worthy of being their leader and you're worthy of leading that team who rely upon you to make the right decisions or make the correct decisions and sometimes the hard decisions which need to be made in order for you to or the company to move forward. And all of this comes through self-education, right? All right, so action steps for this. Read books, listen to audiobooks. Try to surround yourself with people who are like-minded through masterminds and networking events and so forth. I'm really, really, really not keen on networking, I have to say. As extrovert as I am, and I smile and talk to everybody, I'm not that comfortable networking as often. I do go and I will network when I need to, but it's not something that naturally comes to me. I'm actually an extrovert and introvert. It takes a lot for me to go and approach someone. It doesn't take much for me to reply to someone or to talk to someone, smile at someone. But over the years, I've developed the skill to be able to do that. So when you meet me, you will never guess, not in a million years, that I'm not comfortable talking to you or I'm not comfortable approaching you. You would think, oh, she's very confident, she can speak to anyone. It's a skill that I've acquired over time. And that's what I can tell you. It's not something that comes naturally to me. I'm not naturally somebody who goes up to people and talks to people, but now I can. I have the ability to. It's a skill that I've acquired by reading books, by learning about people, and even my business that I've acquired recently, and I'm building up a whole group of companies. It's built on a business because I was inspired by an individual who I read about. And I'll tell him, Andrew Carnegie, he's one of my heroes. Yes, there's different things about his character as a person. That's a different story. I'm more interested in him. And of course he wasn't a god. He had his flaws. But I loved his work ethic. I loved his determination. And I really admire his self-belief. And that inspired me to go on to the venture that I have. And all those qualities that I mentioned just to you about Andrew Carnegie, I've tried to embody in myself, because without those, I would not be able to run my company or acquire additional ones in the group. So books help you to develop your skills. It helps you to even have insights into the leaders who can be your mentors through those books. I mean, Andrew Carnegie died before I even, 100 years before, that I was I was around, I think. But regardless of that, the fact of the matter is, I am still getting inspiration from him because I can read about him through the books. Anyway, I digress. The point being, read books, audiobooks, podcasts, everything. Just read, reputable financial news as well. Educate yourself in whatever area that you feel that you have the need for. If you're investing, do look into financial news. I still do. But most importantly, read about things that interest you. Not just your topics which are in your expertise, but around those topics as well. And then you need to stay updated with all the financial tools as well, in resources and all the new tools coming out with the rise of AI. There's so many new tools that come into the market. Be fully abreast of those. You need to know what they are and how they can be of use to you and so forth. So learn new technology, new tools. Again, one of my pet peeves, I really don't like change very much, even though I need to embrace it all the time and I understand it. So change doesn't come naturally to me. I'm telling you this. I have to embrace it. I have to force myself to say, no, we have to learn. I have to understand this. I have to go ahead to do it. And that's how I learn to use different tools and different techniques. Once I've learned it, oh my God, this made my life so much easier. But initial process of learning was hard. Okay. And then the final one would be seek advice from financial advisors when necessary and seek out mentors. I can't stress enough how much your life will be easier with a mentor. But it's difficult to find the right mentor. I would say that. And at times, in certain areas of your life, you cannot find a mentor. So what do? You go and find books, because there are mentors in the books, autobiographies about people who've lived a life that you may want to, replicate or get insights from. Those people can be your mentors through the books. Great authors can be mentors through their books. So you need to seek mentors in the physical world and through the world of books. That's my advice to you. Without them, you will get ahead, but it'd be a much slower pace. Yeah. All right. So summarizing this final point, continuously educating yourself ensures that you remain productive. You remain, you remain you remain ahead of the game. I think that's what I'm trying to say. By continuously educating yourself, you ensure that you are no longer redundant. The things, the strategy you've learned, the business techniques you've learned, the tools you use are still relative. They haven't become redundant. You're not left behind. If you moved forward. And the way technology is developing, and it's developing at a rapid speed, at times I feel like I'm so far behind and I'm continuously trying to learn myself as well. But that's the whole point. You need to continuously learn and develop in order for you to manage your finances, in order to manage your business, in order to manage your life. And also this will help you to identify opportunities which can help you to build an additional business and thereby growing your net worth. Okay, so there you have it. 5 golden rules to develop your net worth. Now, just in summary, let me give you those again. You first of all need to live below your means, invest wisely, and diversify. You need to avoid bad debt, and you need to build multiple streams of income. And finally, you need to continuously educate yourself. By implementing these principles, these core principles, you can achieve long-term financial stability and actually build an abundance. And what you find is you'll get in the habit of increasing your income, but keeping your expenses low because you'll now think more ways to take that money to invest into different investments that you have going for you. All right. So thank you for tuning in to Money Mindset with Gull Khan. I will be back with another amazing episode. If you found this episode helpful, please do ensure to subscribe to us and share this with a friend. Share with someone who you think would need to hear this or would be interested in learning these topics that I have mentioned. This is for you guys. I do it for the love of my heart, and I'm sort of documenting my journey as I go along and as I go through and build my own businesses in different areas, in different niches, in different sectors. Your support helps us to reach more people and to share the valuable insights on building wealth. Well, until the next time we meet, keep growing, keep thriving. Remember, wealth is a mindset tool. It's a mindset thing. You are wealthy right now, and as long as you have a wealthy mindset, you will eventually become physically wealthy too. That's my promise to you. So until the next time, this is Gull Khan signing off. Take care and bye for now.